Statement. I am holding the Lost Gospel of Thomas. This is a collection of sayings of what Jesus said. This backs up a lot about what we talk about with the law of attraction, with manifestation, with self-actualization, with listening to your inner nature and being true to that is the real meaning of what it means to be alive. In 1945 in Egypt, people were going in and they were doing some archaeology and they opened this tomb. And in there was a clay jar with 13 leather scrolls. These are also known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, which you go on to find. These were original writings of sacred texts that in 325 AD, Bishop Constantine in the Nicene Council, they actually had a meeting and decided what stays and what goes in the New Testament, which went on to be Christian theology. What they left out was the Gospel of Thomas, was other Gospels like Mary Magdalene. Now there's one theory that they did that because they wanted to make it more mainstream and so everybody could understand it. But the other theory is that there's some powerful teachings in here that didn't essentially fit with the narrative they wanted to go with. I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to make this channel the least bit about religion. Okay, but I think you can look at sacred texts and see what they mean and what you can learn from them. I started researching these Gnostic Gospels, and I'd actually bring this up to my professors and my theology professors, and I'd ask them about this stuff. And it was so fascinating because they'd always keep it kind of hush-hush. They'd be like, yeah, well, those didn't fit, so they're not important. And they would never answer the question of like, is this stuff still valid? Is this still the work of God? I thought it was so interesting that this stuff kind of just got like laughed at and looked over. Shouldn't you at least look at all the evidence or all the stuff that Jesus said? There was a group of people, it's worth mentioning, that did follow this stuff and the other texts and the unedited stuff, but they were burned at the stake for it and they were called Gnostic. I want to read you some of these passages. It's only 12 pages and 114 verses. Okay, so it's very short compared to some other books in the Bible. If this ain't a way to kick off a text, I don't know what is. These are the secret sayings which the living Jesus spoke and which Didymus Judas Thomas wrote down. First verse, and he said, whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not experience death. Jesus said, let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished and rule over all. This is where it gets cool. Verse 3, Jesus said, if those who lead you say, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say, see, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourself, then you will become known. And you realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are in poverty. What I take away from verse 3 and why I love that and to kick this off is that it says the kingdom is within you. And that I think that's so true now, that everything you want is within you. You were born with a lot of answers and internal knowledge within. And it's not about learning, it's almost about forgetting. That's what Socrates says. He says that sometimes learning is really remembering, and that he's not in the business of putting new ideas in, new teachings in, as much as he is pulling bad ones out that are no longer serving you. So if you're really honest right now, a lot of people go to friends with, what should I do in this relationship? Should I stay? Should I go? But like, you're just looking for confirmation on your internal gut feeling. That's why we call it a gut feeling. It's very powerful, right? You can do this through meditation. You can do this through journaling. You can do this through talking out loud to yourself when you're driving in the car. Like, a lot of things are available to you to tap into this inner nature that you have within you. Moving on. His disciples questioned him and said to him, do you want us to fast? How shall we pray? Shall we give alms? What diet shall we observe? Jesus said, do not tell lies, and do not do what you hate, for all things are plain in the sight of heaven. For nothing hidden will become manifest, and nothing covered will remain without being uncovered. At the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself. This is my interpretation of it. Again, I'm not saying it's right, it's just how I take it. If you're really honest, like, you know when something's not serving you, and it's not so much finding the answer, it's listening to it and taking action. Here's another one. The disciples said to Jesus, tell us how our end will be. Jesus said, have you discovered then the beginning, that you look for the end? For where the beginning is, there will be the end. Blessed is he who will take his place in the beginning. He will know the end and will not experience death. Interpretation, the present moment, that right here, the past, the future, those are an illusion, those are a blur. And that people who live for the past, That's what Joe Dispenza calls depression. If you're worried about the future, which hasn't happened, you're sacrificing the thing that does happen, which is now. Oh, and if you're looking for the end, you're missing the beginning, or you're missing the now. The present moment is what you really want. My favorite one is save the best for last. It says this: his disciples said to him, "When will the kingdom come?" Jesus said, "It will not come by waiting for it. It will not be a matter of saying, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is.' Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and men do not see it." Crazy that Jesus said that. Again, reconfirming the present moment right here, right now. So stop waiting for tomorrow to be happy. We got to stop living for tomorrow, sacrificing today. So I'm curious, what do you think of the Gospel of Thomas? Again, it's like a